everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Points of Articulation. My name's Dave, and if you're new to the channel, welcome. Today we have a special review. We're going to be taking a look at the Hot Wheels Star Wars Yoda's Jedi Starfighter, first seen in Star Wars The Clone Wars. So what makes this review so special compared to my others? Well, first of all, what you see in front of you is one of the most rare Hot Wheels ships they ever made. Sure, it's popping up here and there, but on the whole, this is a very rare item, and usually fetches a high price on the internet if you're looking to buy it. And second, and most importantly, this ship you see before you was a fan donation by subscriber and viewer Eric Sanchez. And I want to take a moment and I want to tell this man, thank you so much for your donation, man. I really appreciate it. When you reached out to me, I was flabbergasted. I thought you were pulling my leg a little bit, but everything happened, it came through, and I couldn't be happier. And I know in my emails to you, I kept saying thank you, and you know, text can't do it justice. So I wanted to come on today and say it verbally. It means a lot to me from the bottom of my heart. It really does. A lot of people consider these pieces of plastic, toys, whatever, but to me, it's a little more. Each piece is something about my childhood, and for this channel, I tried to build a community where people who love these ships or sci-fi in general could come together and you feel a sense of belonging. And after reading your messages, man, you know, you're into the same things I am for the most part, and it really means a lot to me that you shared a piece of your collection with me. It really does. So again, let me just say, so we can move on, thank you, Eric. It really means a lot to me, and now I can share this piece with the rest of the world, and will be one of my most prized possessions in my collection until I probably die. So anyway, moving on, let's look at a couple fun facts here. This particular ship is a modified Jedi Starfighter, and it can't travel through hyperspace. It needs a hyperspace ring, just like the other Jedi Starfighters. Where we saw this in the Clone Wars is where Yoda left with R2-D2 to try and discover the goal of immortality, basically to become a Force ghost. And that sent him to many planets, including Dagobah and Moraban. And it was a good little story arc. I recommend it if you're a fan of the Clone Wars. Also, on this ship, you're going to see a symbol, especially on the winds. That is Yoda's crest, and a symbol of a Jedi Grand Master. Now, besides being on this particular vessel, you can see it on Yoda's quarters in the films as well. So for this ship's size, it's a little under 2.5 inches, but it's very heavy. This thing is almost solid die cast, and I like that about it. So we do have a lot to cover. We're going to look at the mold, the paint, put on a stand, compare it to some other ships, and then we'll be done. So let's get moving. Alright, let's start this review off looking at the mold. Like always on my channel, we'll go over the main sections of the ship, and then zoom in to show off all those beautiful fine details. So up first, we have our beautiful cockpit section. Very nice. I love the detail there. On the bottom, we have two little orangey red circles. Now on TIE Fighters, those are laser cannons. However, I cannot find any information on if those are laser cannons or not, but they very well could be. Underneath, we have our two rivets, connector port for the stand, copyright crap, some beautiful details on the wings and the main body. Pretty cool. We have our engines, which are recessed and painted blue on the interior. Take a look at that later. The rest of the cockpit section, or fuselage if you want to call it that. Pretty nice looking. R2-D2. Nicely molded and painted. Beautiful stuff. And then we have our wings, complete with laser cannons. Any, I guess we could call them radiator flaps that open up. They aren't painted black on the interior, but it's not too bad. I think the model's good enough that I really don't care, to be honest with you. Some nice detailing on the wings here. And I love the paint for Yoda's crest. Very nice. Lots of lines and panels. Beautiful stuff. And I love the detailing on here. And we even have a little Republic symbol, so that's awesome. All in all, though, a great looking ship here. So now let's get a closer look. Alright, having a closer look, we'll begin looking at the body. Here we have the Republic symbol and beautiful line work here. Really setting up the idea of paneling, and I love that. Looking at the back of the ship. Again, more line work, and then we have part of the engine, which we'll look at later. But I love all the paneling here. Again, a Republic symbol, a little messy with the paint, but not too bad. I'm not really mad about it. Great molding right here next to the wing. Amazing stuff. Now here's the most interesting part. We have our windshield here, the transparent steel viewport. And here we have the front, a TIE Fighter window. And if you look close, you can see that the support beams are raised up and the window itself is recessed. And I love that. That is a great touch. Now around that we do have some raised sections. Little modules. I think that looks great. Moving down underneath, we have two raised sections here that are painted red. Could be laser cannons, not too sure. I know about right here and here, there are headlights, as you can see in the Clone Wars cartoon when he's on Dagobah. Copyright crap, stand connector port, two rivets holding it together, more raised sections and lines. I think that came out great. And then I love these sections here that have the nice lines and then the little recess section that extends out. Fantastic stuff, and that leads to the wing, which we'll look at in a moment. Now turning it around, looking at the engines. They are nicely done. I love all the little molding on here. Oh, I love the vents as well. Beautiful, and it is recessed. And it goes really deep that the light can't even get in there, but it is painted blue, and that is great. Now for the interior back here, it is actually recessed in. A little hard to see, but it is. And the molding's done pretty well. I like that a lot. And it comes up right up here. Nicely done. And then we have R2-D2. And he actually has molded sections. We can see his sensor probe back there. Holographic projector. His sensor eye. Just an amazing amount of detail. And he's painted good as well. Fantastic stuff. So now let's take a look at the wings. Alright, having a closer look at the wings, we could see a laser cannon right here attached to the wing itself, and I love the molding here, like steps. In the back, we have a graded section. And believe it or not, there's no line work. Everything on the wing is basically raised, as you can see here, like I mentioned, just steps. So pretty unique. For the back, we have three raised sections there. Pretty cool. And the bottom of the wing is basically just like the top. We have our step structure, some long protrusions here. Bottom of the laser cannon. And then we have the radiator panels. Now the interiors here aren't painted black, but they're pretty good nonetheless. They did detail them. Pretty awesome. I love the line work. And on the underneath, a little copyright crap there. But nice lines. I love that a lot. For the exterior of the panels, we have Yoda's symbol and beautiful line work and raised sections. Great stuff. This is what I'm talking about here. I love that unique design. Beautiful molding. And then we have this nice long piece right here. Awesome stuff. And then the front, I love this. With the tips of the wings and then our laser cannon, it's like a pitchfork trident type of formation. And that's pretty awesome. Now the other wing is the same. There's not really anything to write home about. Pretty cool nonetheless. I think this came out great. One thing I do want to note though, I love how the panel itself has like this molten lip that comes out like a wall. So the wing itself looks a little recessed. And that is a nice touch. I think that came out great. And that's everything I have to say about the mold. In short, I think they did an amazing job here. This ship is very unique. And one of the aspects that makes it pop is the paint. So now let's take a look at that. Alright, when it comes to the paint, Yoda's Jedi Starfighter has about 10 different colors. I'm sure you could boil that down to about 8. However, it does have a lot going for it. So let's begin. First color up is a nice tan, which is the main color on the panels, the wings, and the cockpit. Very nice. I think it came out great and matches pretty well to what we saw in the show. Next we have green for the back of the cockpit. 2 stripes on each side of the cockpit. And also the wings. Now, yeah, it's a little messy here and there, but I'm going to be honest, I really don't care. I think it looks good regardless. But some people might be a stickler for that. As you can see, it's a little messy or sloppy, whatever. Now moving on, we do have glossy black for the viewports of the cockpit, gray for the support beams, red-orange for the possible laser cannons. Moving on to the back of the ship, we have black for the engines, and light sky blue for the interiors. So that's a nice touch. We also have black for Yoda's Grand Master crest. And I love that. Very clean too. Nice. And that basically does it for the ship itself. So now let's take a quick look at R2. Alright, looking at R2-D2, we can see his main color is a nice silver. Very metallic, very nice. Now on top of that we do have blue, and you can see it's a little floppy here and there. Not too bad though, especially from a distance of, a foot away. Right now we're really close up, so you can see all its little faults. But I love the top, I think that came out great. Now in the front we do have glossy black for his eye. And yeah, even though the paint's a little off, from a distance you can't even tell. And I'm glad that he took the time to paint all this. Very cool. So that does it for the mold and the paint. I'm really digging this ship. I think the design of it is beautiful, and the paint isn't bad as well. Now let's put this baby on a stand and compare it to some other ships, because I have an Ozzy Osbourne concert to get to. And just like most Hot Wheels ships, it comes with a stand. This is one of the original ones, so it has those finger stands. Peg it in the port like so, hear that click, and you're good to go. For a quick size comparison with Yoda's Jedi Fighter seen in the center, on the right hand side we have the Imperial Patrol Speeder that we looked at before, and on the left we have Anakin Skywalker's Jedi Starfighter. All in all, some beautiful looking ships here. And that does it today for my review of the Hot Wheels Star Wars Yoda's Jedi Starfighter, first seen in Star Wars The Clone Wars, and for its size, it's a little under 2.5 inches long. Now, I am a huge fan of Yoda from the original trilogy, and when they gave him his own ship in the Clone Wars, I love that idea. And then when you actually see it and how it functions, it's a beautiful craft, it really is. In my mind, it's a marriage between aerodynamic shapes of the prequels with the more industrial, hard edges of the original trilogy. And that's what we have here. Organic looking center with industrial looking sides. So do I think this is a good vehicle to add to your collection? Absolutely. The mold on here is amazing. They really did put tons of effort into this. Panel lines, curved lines, raised sections, recesses. The engines are all recessed and painted. It's beautiful. Now speaking of the paint, sure the grain's a little sloppy here and there, but you have about 8 solid colors spread throughout this thing, and even the R2 unit is painted. And just like other Hot Wheels ships, it does come with a translucent stand. So I recommend this ship for anybody who's a fan of the Clone Wars, Yoda, or Jedi Starfighters. This is a magnificent piece, very unique, and it will pop in your collection. So that's everything I have to say about Yoda's ship today. I hope you enjoyed the review. If you did, hit that like button. And if you'd like to see new reviews every Thursday, subscribe. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye everybody, time to go see Ozzy.